Hi, and welcome to video 18 in the Ableton Tips and Tricks video series. Today I'm going to talk about granular synthesis and Ableton's granular synth, the Granulator. Granular synthesis is defined on Wikipedia as sound synthesis operating on a microsound timescale. Though similar to sampling, the audio is split into pieces that are around 1 to 50 milliseconds. Each of these pieces of audio are known as grains, which is where granular synthesis gets its name. Each of these grains can be layered, reworked, and processed in various ways to get the sound you're looking for. Now, due to the density of grains, dynamics, and any other properties of the sound, different sounds can be produced at different points. In Ableton Live, all of this can be accomplished with an instrument called the Granulator. Developed by Robert Henke, the co-creator of Ableton, this allows the Ableton user to utilize granular synthesis to a very, very creative end. What I should also mention is that the Granulator is Max for Live only, so you will need Max for Live to run it. If you don't have Max, you do not have access to this program. So that said, let me show you the Granulator. So on channel 2, I have a first Granulator I'm going to show you today, and this is what it looks like. Now I notice that it looks like two instruments that are included with Ableton Suite. One is the sampler, which is very characteristic in this window here, because inside we have an audio sample. But on the bottom half of the Granulator, we have many synth properties. For example, we have the ASDR envelope, FM modulation, grain, file position, LFO, we've got filters, overall volume, and then recording in samples. And many of these properties are characteristic of almost every synthesizer in the world, all in one small package. So what's cool about the Granulator is that it's actually a synth and a sampler in one, but it doesn't replace the sampler either. So that's what makes it quite unique. What I'm going to do today is actually play you two separate samples, unprocessed, and then show you how they sound processed inside the Granulator. So what I have first on channel 1 is a Detroit house sample that's a stock Ableton sample. So it's got a Detroit vibe going on there. And in channel 2, I've got it inside the Granulator. So let me expand the grain position a little bit and play it back. I'll move it around a little bit. So complete chaos, but from this we can actually get possibly a sound you're looking for that just might work within your track. So on channel 3, I have the other sample I'd like to demonstrate today. So much more of this choral pad sound. I have it loaded in another Granulator on channel 4, and this is what a C major chord sounds like through the Granulator. So let me move the file around and just play around a bit. So again, total chaos, but eventually you get a sound that just might work. What I'm actually going to do is actually show you a small piece of sound that can actually be utilized in a chord progression here that I started playing around with. In this case, I am going to take the file position to, I believe it is 5650. Type that in, and then give the grain size a value of 250. So I'm going to zoom in. Also notice here with the Granulator, I can get really, really tight on certain pieces of audio here. And that's also very characteristic of a sampler, which is quite nice. So let me type in 56.5 again. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. Let me turn this off and play a sound through here. So it's got that rolling sound to it, but let's try it on channel 2. Let me arm that. Let me go up an octave. Actually, I'm going to go down one. And that's a C major chord played through a very, very, very small piece of audio. So what I'm going to do is actually play a very small chord progression from Macklemore's Can't Hold Us, just to give you an idea of what it sounds like through the Granulator. So from that very, very small piece of sound, which was this Detroit sample, we get an even smaller sound that can actually be turned into a full chord progression. That is just one example of what the Granulator is capable of doing. You're only limited by your imagination with this instrument. It's my favorite in Ableton, and I've used it on a number of things. It's absolutely awesome. To make it even more enticing is that it's free. And that's actually something that's pretty cool because you don't have to pay anything for it and you get a really, really sick instrument with it. And I highly recommend using it for anything relating to electronic music or possibly even outside that realm. It's a really, really cool instrument. Highly recommend it. And I hope that you can utilize it to your advantage in a super creative way. So that concludes this video. Again, take care and thanks for watching.